So my first confession of the moment is that I am wearing a Brigham Young University t-shirt. And I wear it with pride because I am a Brigham Young University alumni and I gotta represent, you know. I'm gonna ask you to do the famous Mormon bear with me, because I love when people stand up in testimony meeting and they say bear with me because you know the worst is coming. This is actually not that bad, but I just wanted to say bear with me. Because I was, you know, I've taken exactly 1 hour to get to the point where I am in this video blog that I've created, and the videotape stopped and cut me off in a moment that wasn't very conducive to anything. And so I figured the only way that I can really do this justice is to actually just go ahead and say what I'm trying to say once and for all, as concisely as I can in my verbose methods. And so I just want to conclude and add a few things to what I've already posted. My main point that I'm trying to make through all of this is that I really believe something that I did not believe before, and that is I really believe that you can be a fully functioning, happy human being outside of the Mormon Church. And if you didn't grow up Mormon, you're like watching this and saying, duh. But if you grew up Mormon, and if you grew up Mormon the way I did, I really truly believed that the church and the gospel were the only ways that I could be happy. And I went around for 2 years in Mexico telling people that that was the only way that they were really going to be able to be happy. And I think I saw a lot of examples of people who, all through my life, who are not Mormon, who are very, very happy. And you make this exception for them. You say, you know, they're happy to an extent. You know, they have some things going for them, but they don't understand the fullness of the gospel like I do. And you know, not only is that a huge blessing for me to know everything, where I came from, who I am now, and where I'm going, but it's also a huge responsibility. And if I were to ever try to live in a way that was different, I wouldn't be able to be happy knowing what I'm walking away from. And that's an important exception. Yesterday, I found out that someone who I've known for a very long time but have not been in frequent contact with decided to take their own life because this young man was a gay Mormon. Actually, about 2 months ago, he contacted me, and I hadn't spoken to him in years because he's quite a bit younger than me. And he said, you know, I saw you on MySpace, and you know, I see you listed your orientation as gay. I'm gay too. You seem like someone who's dealing with this situation really well, and you're farther along on this journey than me and my other friends at BYU are, and I want to find out how you're doing with your sexuality and how you're doing with your spirituality and how you've come to this place that seems to be working for you. And I called him back, and actually I wrote him and said, you know, I'd rather talk to you on the phone if that's okay, because it would just be easier to kind of, you know, really discuss things rather than have to write these long emails back and forth. And the day we were supposed to talk, he sent me a text and said, you know, I have a really bad sore throat today. I can't talk today, but I will give you a call when I feel better. And obviously that call never happened. And I got an email last night from his parents, I suppose, that said, if you're getting this email, you were listed among this young man's contacts, and we'd like to inform you that he chose to take his life. I remember that when I was at the height of struggling to stay in the church, trying really hard to be celibate, and you know, sort of envisioning my life in this way. You know, I have to endure to the end. I've been baptized. I've been through the temple. I've made temple covenants. I have to keep those temple covenants. I just have to endure to the end. endure to the end for me became this sort of really literal phrase. And what I started doing was truly wishing that the end would be very, very near. There is not, during a certain period of my life, there's not a single time I was sitting on a plane getting ready to take off saying to myself, if this plane were to go down and crash and all of us were to die, I'd be okay with that. In fact, I welcome that. And there were so many mornings that I would wake up and get out of bed and say to myself, if I get run over by a car today, or if I got in a really bad head-on collision today, that would be really, really great, because I don't know how much longer I can do this. If you are a gay Mormon and you are watching this right now, there is a very good chance that at some point in your life, perhaps even very recently, you've thought about death or you've thought about suicide. And what I want to do in this moment is I want to bear my testimony to you that there is a life for you that you have no idea exists yet. And I'm at the very, very birth of a new life for myself. And that is a life where I accept myself to be a wonderful, whole human being who happens to be attracted to his same gender, who has a great love for God, who has a great love for Jesus Christ, and who has a great love for all the people on this earth. And I want you, before you make a judgment call about this rebirth that I'm describing in myself, I want you to look within yourself and ask yourself, is there a part of you that is telling you that it would be better for you to die than to leave the Mormon Church? And whatever part of you that is saying that, I want you to really look at it, because I think if you were to call a parent, or if you were to call your little sister or your little brother or your cousin, or, one of your friends, and say, would you rather have me live out my life as a gay man outside of the church, or would you rather have me commit suicide? I don't think there's a friend or cousin or brother or relative or parent that would ever tell you that death was the best option for you. I think if given the choice, people would rather have you stay here. And as far as the church goes, there's a scripture in the New Testament where Christ is talking to the Pharisees about the Sabbath day, and they're criticizing him for healing on the Sabbath or something. And he says, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. In other words, God didn't sit up in his, glass planet Kolob and say, I'm going to make a Sabbath day. And after I've made this holy day, I'm going to create people that have to honor this holy day. God created the people first, and then he created a day for them so that they would rest. It was supposed to be a benefit to their lives, not this hindrance, not this plague on their lives, not something that, was this huge ordeal in order to obey. It was supposed to bless them. And I'm equating that in this moment with the church. God did not sit in his, mansion on high and say, I'm going to make this church that's just so awesome that, if people don't follow its teachings, they'll never be happy. And once I've got this church made, I'm going to make all these people that have to fit their lives into it, no matter what the cost to them personally, no matter what the cost to them in terms of their life on earth. God made this church, believe it or not. If he did create the Mormon Church, he definitely created it to benefit the people of this earth. And if you personally are entertaining thoughts of death or suicide, I think it's safe to say that this church is not benefiting you in your life. I know I might be boiling this down in a really, really basic way, but I think it's obvious if you are wanting to die like I was, or if you're wanting to even go that far as to take your own life, I think it's safe to say that this church is not doing what it was intended to do in its inception or creation. And I think you should start finding a way to see your connection with God in a way that doesn't involve Mormonism. Please feel free to contact me if there's anything that you'd like to discuss, or if you'd like to learn more about exploring your spirituality while embracing yourself as a gay person, then please visit affirmation.org.